Greetings, anybody who might be here. This is just a live stream test. It's been a while. I haven't done this in a while, so I am testing all the stuffs that I've not done in a while, so there's going to be nothing of any particular interest here. Hello. Can't pronounce your name, mate, Soz. Yeah, it's been a while. I think it's been a couple of years since I did a live stream, and everything's different. I'm now using, first off, I'll just thumbs up or something if you can actually hear me, because I'm streaming to a different PC. I've got a capture card on another PC, microphone sort of USB redirected off to another PC. It works. Oh, get in. Dimitro. Yeah, so the deal is, main monitor's here, chat's up there. So that's why I kind of look over there if I'm like reading something. That there, that's my widescreen monitor, which failed. My LG widescreen monitor packed in last week, which is most annoying. So I bought a new one, and then my Amazon delivery is delayed. Right, so what else do I need to test here? So I need to make sure that that works. That did work. Good. Right, so what that's done is that's split the stream off onto a 4K screen. So can you see, where's my mouse cursor? There we go. Right. So like this little region here is like a section of the screen. So when I'm doing a live stream for realsies, this section of the screen will be where like I'll put Inventor or Vault or Red or whatever I'm doing. I'll put the application there, and then that's like the top left hand corner of the 4K screen, and to the right of that I can have like YouTube chat and all the rest of it, internet browser and stuff. Good, that works. Sweet. Hey, tell you what, man, this is good. It's all working like a charm. Don't know why I'm doing this at midnight, but this is good. Right, is there anything else I need to know about? Let's have a look at my YouTube dashboard. Well, there's nothing really much different there. Hello, Kenny. Yeah, I've watched a few people's live streams, and I think YouTube are rolling out a new streaming dashboard, which I have not used it yet because I've not streamed in a while, but apparently it's a load of garbage. I tried streaming on Twitch, but Twitch ain't my bag, mate. Twitch ain't my market. I think the majority of people who watch a channel like mine, they've got no interest in going over to Twitch. And to be honest, like, I've got no interest in going over to Twitch. There's nothing for me over there. Why would I? If I've got a group of people over here, what possible benefit is there for going over to Twitch? Can't see any at all, really. So I'm going to keep it here, use what I've got. But no, this is good. This is good. Right. So yeah, I'm just testing, make sure it streams okay, make sure the audio is okay, make sure the picture's okay. When I get my proper monitor, when I get my replacement widescreen, it'll be set up a little bit better. What broadcast package I'm using? I'm using XSplit. Most people use OBS, but since day one on the channel, there's like a bit of a story. Some most entertaining story you're ever going to hear. But when I first started the channel, I tried the likes of Camtasia for creating local recordings. But Camtasia is a load of rubbish. You can do. It's fine for like people who are creating like fire safety videos, that kind of thing. But I wanted good quality 60 frames per second video, and Camtasia was rubbish. And then I just came across XSplit, gave it a shot, and it's got a pretty good local recording feature where you can record at any resolution. It'll go ultra wide, so if I actually do want to record full on ultra wide, 3440 by 1440, it'll capture the full display. It'll do any frame rate. It's not free. I think I pay about 100 quid a year or something like that for it. OBS probably does what XSplit does, but I'm used to XSplit and it's never let me down ever, not once. So I'll just keep using it. But yeah, it's got a good bit rate. Every video that I've ever done on the channel has been a local recording with XSplit. And then when I go live, it's just a bonus. It just doubles up as a streaming thing. So but yeah, it's yeah, the audio is not going to be great. I still haven't got to the bottom of that. I mean, what I've been doing on the videos is I've just been editing it in post. I figured out a way to kind of get rid of it, not really get rid of it, but just to minimize the echo in post in Premiere Pro. Just adding a couple of parametric equalizers and reverb reductions, which seems to have done the job. Hi from Greece. Hello, Greece. It's probably as mental over there as it is over here. Right, anything else I need to do? I'll tell you what I should probably do is drop a couple of applications over at that corner to make sure they're working. And they look okay. I don't know what this isn't really proving anything, because this is a 4K screen I'm dropping things over to, and I'll be doing it to an ultra wide. But this does it for reals, but it's worth a shot. Well, we'll see what happens. I just want to make sure the capture card can handle it okay. Because the last time I streamed, I was trying to stream VRED, and also Inventor when I was doing any ray tracing or anything CPU intensive with Inventor. It was getting in the way of the streaming output, even on like 6 cores. It was dropping frames big time. The audio was going out of sync. So I've recently bought a 4K capture card, and that's handling all of the streaming, so I can do whatever I want on my main desktop, and then it shouldn't affect anything on the streaming side. And I'm surprised I've actually done this and it works. So this is what I'll do. So I'm basically just arranging a 1080p application at the top corner, and then we'll open up a model and make sure it works, make sure the bit rate's okay. So what I'll have to do is I'll open up a model, make sure it's color rich, fast moving, and then I need to watch the VOD back and make sure the bit rate and all that's fine. Right, let's open up my Red Bull model. Very grateful. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a long ride. 6.5 years of YouTube. So it's always good to hear from people that have had some gain from the videos. It makes it worthwhile. So thank you very much for that. You might have to get yourself a dedicated streaming PC. That's what I've done, mate. That's what I'm testing. So I've got my main rig here, which is my 6-core 8700K. That's what the VRED applications on. That's what you're looking at here, and then it's all being piped out to a streaming PC. So that's what I've done. I'm just testing it, make sure it's okay. Right, let's fire up. What am I doing? Of course, this is. I'm looking at a TV, which is about 5 foot away, so my eyes are a bit like boomer eyes. Right, here we are. So I'll turn on ray tracing on the GPU. Let's give that a good kicking. Will Inventor use more cores for ray tracing? Yes, yeah, it does. Yeah, pretty much all. Well, historically, all ray tracing was CPU bound, but now it's GPU. So what you're looking at here, this is GPU ray tracing. So you, in VRED, for example, when you've got the ray tracing option, you've got CPU ray tracing and GPU ray tracing. Historically, it was always CPU. Inventor is CPU. Inventor's never going to be GPU ray tracing. Ain't going to happen. But if I was streaming and doing this on one PC right now, I'd be dropping frames like a mother chugger. So let's enable that and give it a good hammering. That's looking pretty crispy. Will Inventor use RTX GPU? Nah, very unlikely. I mean, it depends how much pressure that gets put on them. I think SolidWorks, if SolidWorks end up doing it, and then there's a big demand for the Inventor team to do it, then possibly. But they're just really slow at adopting things like that because it's not really a priority for them. So I kind of see them doing it. They didn't really give two craps about VR. They don't give two craps about AR. I kind of see it happening, mate. To be honest, like unless one of the teams with an Autodesk creates some kind of interchangeable package, which they can just sort of like a moduled package where they can just sort of drop it into Inventor and it'll just work with minimal effort required for the development team. Then possibly they would do that, but I would doubt it otherwise. Right, so that's given it a good kick in. I'll have to watch that back and make sure there was no drop frames during that. Let's give this a good spin around. Let's turn off the scene plate and make fast moving graphics. Make sure there's no artifacts when I watch this back. Right, that's enough of VRED. So fire up Inventor and make sure Inventor looks alright. Autodesk Inventor 2021. Sure, yeah, of course you can ask a question. I might not know the answer, but sure. I only have CPU ray tracing position. Don't know what that means. If you're talking about VRED and it only says CPU, then that would mean your GPU doesn't support ray tracing on the GPU. The current state of affairs is that AMD don't have any GPU ray tracing support. All applications that do GPU ray tracing are using NVIDIA's optics framework, which is the whole RTX thing. And AMD they've just been left behind big time. And there's other factors to take into account as well, with the fact that AMD they're just not. It's their own fault. Without going into too much detail, it's AMD's own fault that they're being massively left behind with all this. So, long story short, if you want GPU ray tracing, you've got to have NVIDIA. And as much as that's a cornering of the market, they've done a pretty good job with it. It's really good. It's been very reliable so far. Given that it's first gen, I think the gamers are a bit pissed with it because it's not brilliant for games. It's like a kind of halfway house. It's not full global illumination. It's like sort of the majority of the graphics in games is pre-baked with a bit of ray traced reflections here, a bit of ray traced sort of fire reflections there, maybe some maybe bits and pieces here. So I think they're feeling a little bit miffed with that. And also, you need like the highest card, the 2080 Ti, to get any kind of decent frame rate in a game. Given like, to play a game with ray tracing, you need a consistent at least 60 frames every second to be delivered to your screen. And that's asking a lot. That is asking a lot, and we're not quite there. We're not quite there yet. NVIDIA haven't quite released their technology yet. I've absolutely no doubt that NVIDIA have got a chip which can deliver perfect, pretty much seamless, smooth ray tracing, 60 frames per second at a quality that we're looking for. But why would they want to release that right now? Obviously, it's the staged sales approach, isn't it? They want to release it in increments, so there's something to buy next time around. So yeah. Anyway, long story. Yeah, the quick answer to that question is if you want GPU ray tracing, you need to go for NVIDIA. If you do a multi-sheet drawing in Inventor, is there a way of changing the BOM properties of one sheet to another? Like using structure for one sheet, parts only on the next sheet. Is there a way of changing the BOM properties from one sheet to another? If you've got NVIDIA, then drivers maybe? You didn't say what I mean, are you using VRED? Then possibly you're on too early of a driver. There's a certain driver level that you need to be on as well to get GPU ray tracing enabled. I don't know, mate. It's something I'd have to look at. I don't know. It's not something I've actually like explicitly tried. So if you've tried it and the option's not there, there tends to not be any kind of secret options to turn that kind of thing on. So without having gone and set something up and tried it, I don't know. Can't give you an answer off the top of my head. But if you've tried it and it doesn't do it, there's a good chance that no, you can't do it. But it's something I can, once I get the streams up and running, and I'm doing this sort of for realsies, I can fire up something and then give it a shot. Right. Hello mate, Zimmered, long time. I'm just doing a stream test, new setup, making sure everything works. This camera at the bottom left is going to be possibly problematic and in the way, so I need to maybe do something with this. Smaller, move it somewhere else, I don't know. Future problem. That one's a future problem, right? Let's make sure Inventor is smooth. See, on my screen, I'm looking at what is being broadcast, but I'm looking at it through remote desktop, which is naturally compressed and full of artifacts. So I need to model something up and then make sure. Oh, inches. Well, what kind of weird units is this? Sorcery is this? Right. I don't even know what I typed in there. Right. Extrude. Okay. Learn to invent, Neil. Where's my dial? Oh, that's why I can't do it. There's bloody dialog boxes on the other screen. There we are. Right. Good. Okay. Orbit. Dear future Neil, how does the stream look? Is that right? Okay, that's good. Right, that's Inventor tested. Right, so when I do this for real, it won't, because this wouldn't work. Just looking up here all the time, it'll actually be here. So it's just a test, really. Pop that back over there. Good. Right, that's that out. That's red. That's Inventor. I'm not doing streams of Vault. I'm sick of the sight of Vault. Do enough of that during the day, so I think that's probably about enough. Anything else I need to do? Transition to that. Transition to that. No. How to set up the black theme. Black theme's 2021, mate. You need Inventor 2021, and then you need to go into application options, and then colors tab, 2021 colors tab, and it's there. There's like a little drop down that says theme or something like that, and it's called pre-release, dark theme pre-release or something like that. Yeah, you need 2021. Can you try and copy camera view circular format? Probably. But I've got this nice little overlay on it. Yes, that's probably not a bad idea, actually. I've never seen anyone doing that before. Circular webcam layout. Can I do it in XSplit? Crop. Layout. Cropping. Auto. No. Auto. No, I can't. It's got a top, bottom, left and right crop. Can I crop to a shape? Not that I can see. How can I crop to a circle? I'll make a note of that. I will make a note of that and then I'll have a think. Can't see any options in XSplit, but I'll have a think. Right, sticky notes. Just make a note of that. Right, XSplit crop camera to circle. Right. Right. I'll have a think about that. Can't see any way doing it in XSplit, but I'll have a think. You can do it in XSplit. Teach me. I don't know how. Will you show us how to make GPU ray tracing video in VRED? Yeah. So next week, the whole point of us doing this is next week I've got a week off. And when I say a week off, that means a week of doing YouTube. So I'm going to do some live streams. And I'm probably going to live stream VRED because the VRED videos that I've done have been quite popular. And I love it. So I'm going to do loads of VRED stuff. And the feedback of the videos that I've made on VRED tend to be quite... They go down quite well. And lots of people want to see the process of how you bring stuff in. Whether it be a car, whether it be something from Inventor, and then how you texture it up and render it up. And I think people just like watching it. So the live streams aren't going to be like, it's not going to be a replacement for a general tips and tricks video. It's just going to be like, just me dossing about on stream, just doing what I would have done if I wasn't on stream. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing. A couple of other things that are going to be happening. YouTube's recently so this is another story which is going to change the way the channel is going to be moving forward. Whether this happens or not, I don't know. It's hanging in the balance a little bit, but YouTube's recently enabled memberships on the channel, which if you watch a lot of YouTube, you'll have seen the join button on people's channels. There's like a little join button at the bottom. And it's kind of a sacking to Patreon in a number of ways. Patreon's not really worked out for me. It's been awesome in that it's brought about 50 to 60 people over into like my I've got this little Discord server thing going on, and there's an awesome bunch of people over there where I've just been in Discord tons, just sort of bouncing ideas off people about what to do with the channel and ideas and the thoughts and opinions on bits and pieces. But for various reasons that are perfectly understandable, Patreon's just not really worked out. I haven't pushed it that much, and I just had no intention of really pushing it even any more than I'd already done. So YouTube's enabled memberships. So I had a lot of thoughts on how to make memberships work for the channel. The end goal, right? The ultimate long-term vision that I've always had for the channel is that I've always wanted this to end up being the full-time gig. But that was never, I would say 3 years into doing this. So obviously I've been doing it for 6.5 years. That's how old TFI is. I think 3 years in, it became pretty clear that you can't really grow a channel and sustain it on just Inventor videos. It's just not possible. As much as there's a small group of people who think that they're super important and they are to them and they'll always be useful. it's always going to be a super small group of people. Just by nature, a CAD channel's it's got a very high turnover of people, just because of the nature of what it is. You know, a lot of people tend to find themselves in a certain position in life, whether they be a student and they need to learn Inventor. So they'll do a bit of Googling, they'll find my channel, they'll watch the videos, they'll subscribe up for a few months, and then once they've got from it what they need, they're away. It's perfectly natural, it's perfectly organic. The same goes for people in employment. Someone might move to a new job and they get dropped in the deep end, right? New job, you're an engineer, you need to learn Inventor. Oh shit, I need to get up to speed on this pretty super fast. And then they'll find my channel, binge watch all the videos, get up to speed, watch it maybe for a few more months, and then the kind of lifespan of my channel then kind of deteriorates a bit for them, and then they've got what they need, and then they move on. Same again. People retire, people move jobs, people get promoted into different jobs, so that you just can't sustain a channel like mine just on Inventor videos and tips and tricks. So I kind of learned that sort of 3 years in. So the previous 3 years up until now, I've been pretty obvious. I've been experimenting with different things, doing the PC stuff, doing the VRED stuff, and just trying to sort of dip into different bits and pieces, just to see if something would kind of push it forward and propel it forward. Which it hasn't really experienced the kind of growth that I was kind of hoping it would do to get this to be full time. And it's just the way it is when you're in this kind of market, because all of us, we are in a niche within a niche. We're kind of in engineering's a niche within employment, and then Inventor is a niche within engineering, and it's a pretty small niche given like SolidWorks is the giant, the conglomerate. So yeah, I'm kind of limited as to the channel's growth. So what I've had to do recently is sit down and have a long, hard think to myself, what am I doing? Where's this all going? Because I can't sustain the level of input that I've been putting in. So like the last 6 years, I think financially I've probably ploughed about 30 grand into the channel, just on monitors and PCs and software and just graphics cards and laptops, and just over 6 years it stacks up pretty quickly. So from a financial standpoint, that was an investment. That was kind of like, right, if I just go hell for leather, I think I've got a good opportunity here. If I make an investment, this could work out, and it hasn't. I think even still today, I think like the average monthly ad revenue on YouTube is less than what I was. It's less than half a day that I was billing as a consultant. It's kind of like in perspective. So a month's worth of ad revenue is sort of half a day's work for me as a consultant. So it's not really worked out from that point of view. But that's not the big deal for me. The big deal is the time. So I think after my day job, sort of 40 hours a week, I'm also putting in sort of 40 hours a week on YouTube. It doesn't always materialize into videos. It's just generally looking at research, learning stuff, the VRED stuff, playing around with ideas, chatting to the people on Discord, talking to people at Autodesk, bug reporting, just stuff that's always focused around ideas and planning on what I can do for the channel. And it's got to the point now where, like 6 years on, the struggle versus reward is way out of balance. So I've had to sit down and think, right, something's got to change. And fortunately, YouTube enabled memberships on the channel just at the right time. So I'm going to try and weave memberships in somehow to kind of make this work, hopefully. But as always, there's a catch. And the catch is, well, I'll start with the plan. The plan was, it's pretty obvious to most people. Like the last 2 years, there's not been that many Inventor tips and tricks tutorials on the channel. You could probably count on two hands how many I've done. So what I'd thought about doing was enabling memberships and then having a membership tier and just regularly banging out Inventor videos for this membership tier, and then having a second slightly higher tier that includes all the Inventor videos that I would do, as well as Vault videos and VRED videos and maybe some extra bits and pieces, as well as keeping the channel going as it always has done. You can't bin the channel just in favor of membership, so it's just like this extra tier of stuff that wouldn't have otherwise happened. So that was the plan. But of course there's a catch. And the catch is that I can't, or possibly might not be able to do it, because the licenses that I've used on the channel up until now are not for resale licenses. I'm not supposed to use them in a commercial setting. So I've had to ask Autodesk whether I can actually even use the licenses for that purpose. So I'm kind of waiting on that. So that's kind of where things are at the moment. But as of next week, I'm going to start the live streams and sort of kind of get things kick-started. Maybe drive a bit of interest for VRED, and I don't know. I'm just sort of toying with some ideas, sort of like a big hurrah to try and kickstart things and get things going. So that's just where things are at the moment. So yeah, that's a bit of a story, just a brain dump of where things are at. What is the way to ask Autodesk Inventor team to improve carbon fiber and texture? I honestly don't think they care, mate. You can ask them, but I don't think they care. I don't think the Inventor team are even in control of their own textures. I think they've got, so in Inventor there's the Inventor material library, which I've never really understood why there's two of them, but there's the Inventor material library and then there's the Autodesk appearance library. I just by default just ditch the Inventor one and just go for the Autodesk one. The Autodesk appearance library is the library that's shared across all of the Autodesk applications. The idea being, if you apply a texture to anything from the Autodesk appearance library, when you move that model between Autodesk applications, the texture can go flow with it, and the textures tend to be a higher quality. So have a look in the Autodesk appearance library, see if there's a better carbon fiber texture. If the one in the Inventor library is naff, I mean, you want to ask them, best place would be the Inventor for, like Autodesk would say go to the idea station and log it on the idea station, but that's just generally a big toilet. It's an absolute toilet of a website. They are using it to improve Inventor, but it's debatable as to how that's actually put into practice. So like every release of Inventor, you'll see the what's new document, and almost every single what's new feature will have like a little hyperlink next to it going, this was taken off the idea station. Idea station is just a corporate term for wish list. And I've done videos on the idea station. If you type in idea station or something like that into my channel video search, you'll find videos on what it is. So yeah, they do claim that the what's new features are taken from the idea station, but I think it's sort of flip reversed. I'm speculating here, completely could be off whack, but my interpretation of it is that they kind of drive what's new based off of commercial factors, and then go through the idea station and hope that there's an idea there that tallies up with their commercial factors, if you see what I mean. So it's like money first. Hopefully there's a customer that asks for that, and we'll sort of tie the two together. In the idea station just ends up being, people just throwing ideas at this thing, and there's all kinds of duplicates there. Somebody does go through and try and clear up the duplicates, but it just gets spammed with all kinds of stuff, and your ideas get lost in a massive black hole. So if you ask on the forums though, they have the product teams and the people who actually do have quite a lot of influence in how the product is developed. They do frequent the forums quite a bit. So just even if It's not obviously putting a forum post out and saying, I want the carbon fiber texture to be changed. That's not in any way going to be an official product log to get something changed, but it might just trigger something in someone's brain in Autodesk that goes, well, that's pretty easy to do. Hey, and then they go, oh, yeah, Jim, can you change the carbon fiber texture? Oh, yeah, I can do that. It's something as simple as that, you know. It might do, might not, I don't know. But I would say the forums, the Autodesk Inventor forums would probably be the best bet for that. Workstation related hardware videos, you've done them before, enjoyed them, made use of the info. Yeah, no, I honestly, Sir, this is possibly my biggest problem with YouTube at the moment is the whole hardware thing. Like right now, this very minute, I've got a workstation over in the corner which is GPU benchmarking 6 different RTX GPU ray tracing engines. So Keyshot, VRED, Thayer, Arnold, just tons of different GPU I'm working on a video for how different RTX graphics cards and Pascal-based graphics cards perform on GPU ray tracers. But I'm using my own graphics cards. Why? Because I can't get graphics cards from suppliers. I can't even get an email reply from Nvidia. I can't even get an email reply from MSI, from ASUS, from EVGA, from PNY, from any company that actually samples these graphics cards. I can't even get in touch with them. So I've got a canny big, like, in terms of professional, like, graphical engineering audience, I've got quite a big audience. And most of the people who watch my videos are in industry and they want to buy this stuff. And I can't get an email reply from any of these companies to actually get a product from them to put in front of people who are actually going to buy this stuff. And it drives me absolutely mental. It's one of my biggest issues at the moment, and it has been for a while. But it's such it is a bit of an entitled kind of whiny stance to have. But it's kind of a deal-breaking deadlock for the channel. It's like I've got all kinds of videos I could create, but I can't. And I've had to just buy a graphics card. Like there was a graphics card released about 3 months ago. You might have seen it on other channels. It was Gamers Nexus that picked it up. There was a 2060, an RTX 2060 released, EVGA KO 2060, and it had a chip in it from a 2080, but it was sort of down-tuned to be a 2060. However, it was a physical chip from a 2080, so it gamed like a 2060, but throw workstation applications at it like GPU ray tracing, and it performs like a 2080. I've had to go and buy it myself, and it's driving me mental. It really is. It's driving me nuts. So there's all kinds of hardware videos I could do, but I just can't. I get tons. Go through my comments, like in YouTube Studio, you do like a comment search of every comment on on every video. It's sort of all dumped in one area. It's just question after question after question. If I'm a student, what kind of laptop should I buy? What kind of desktop should I buy? What kind of workstation should I buy? I would Dell or an Lenovo or an HP. I've got this Xeon versus, should I buy this one or that one? I'm like, I'd love to tell you, mate, but I've got no way of actually physically testing these things, because Intel, Nvidia, AMD, they're all, Dell, they're all sending their high-end workstations and Quadros and they're out of gaming channels who sit there and play Minecraft on them and run WinZip tests on them. It drives me fucking nuts. But yeah, anyway, can't really whinge anymore about that. One day maybe I'll get on one of their radars. I don't know. Hello, Pedro. Yes, you have been here a while, mate. Yes, 6 years. It has been that long. 6 years indeed. I'm saying I'm not unhappy with the channel at all. I'm really genuinely not, but just the input that I've put in. the way I approach pretty much everything in life is that I can't do something by halves. I think this is sort of on some level of autism, but I can only do something if I know I can be the best at it. It's like playing a game. If there's no leaderboard where you've got a shot at being the best in the world, I'm just not interested. I've got to be, or at least have a shot at being the best. And that's kind of how I'm approaching YouTube. So I'm trying and have been trying to manage the channel and deliver the videos in the way that a full-time YouTuber would do. Like the quality of the cameras that I used to have, like about a year ago, I was knocking out videos with like the tripod with a fucking Metabone speed booster with a big Panasonic G7 and a Sigma lens and lighting. I've got studio lighting all over the place and trying to make it look like a proper high-end studio lit video. And I haven't got the time to do that kind of thing, but I'm doing it, and it's absolutely killing me. Which is why I'm having to I'm now at the point after 6 years where I'm like, I have to stop doing that, or make a change to make it work better. But yes, it's been 6 years, mate. I know. Anyway, what were we saying? It means frame generator lately, and I find it dreadful that it still struggles with things that it shouldn't. Honestly, I've not used frame generator in anger in a long time. Fun fact, I don't actually even use Inventor in production at all. In between creating videos on the channel, I never even use Inventor ever. It's an application that when I was working in a reseller, I was working for a platinum reseller in the UK. I would do Inventor training courses, Inventor installs, Inventor support, consultancy, that kind of thing. But once I left the reseller, I was focusing pretty much explicitly on Vault, helping people use Inventor, still doing a bit of teaching, but not really ever using it. So I don't sit down and design anything with it. So when there's little niggles and bugs and stuff with the likes of frame generator, it's not something I really ever come across. I hear about it, but I don't really ever experience it. So can't really say what the bugs are myself. Specifically end treatments. I do know that they've got some, they could be better with the end treatments. They have put some new ones into 2021. I think it was can't remember the name. It's in the What's New video. I'm sure you've seen it, but there's some new end treatments in frame generator. But yeah, I don't think it's as good as it could be yet. But yeah, beyond that, I don't know. I mean, they've clearly put a lot of investment into frame generator in the last couple of years. So they did the naming was a big issue with frame generator. The naming of the frames, that was a problem, especially with trying to get the files into a data management system. So they've put a lot of time and effort into that. I know they've done some work around extending and trimming, and beyond that, I don't know. I'm not exposed enough to people who use it extensively enough, so I don't know what beyond that are the big issues with it. If you need additional results, I can help. I've got a ZBook 15 with a Quadro RTX 3000. Yeah, so cheers, man. But I've got a. So I'm getting a laptop soon with an RTX 3000 as well. But this is through work. I shouldn't have to rely on that, but I will be getting delivery of I think it's a Dell Precision we're getting with an RTX 3000 in. But I shouldn't have to. I mean, I've got to make do with what I've got. But it just would be nice if someone within marketing within Dell or not Lenovo, ideally not, but just someone local within Dell or HP would just realize the benefit of a channel like this in the same way 3D Connection did. Because 3D Connection, they got in touch with me when I think I had about 3,000 subs. They were like, well, that's 3,000 people who are using Inventor. That's worthwhile to us. And it was, because they sold a fair few 3D mice just to that very, very small pool of people. Because that's their market. That's 3,000 people who it's like It's like putting 3,000 people in a room in a big expo and having a stand. That's what it's like. Whereas, like, if they send a Quadro out to Linus Tech Tips or Gamers Nexus or all the other the generic sort of gaming channels, fair enough, they might have 10 million people, but how many people within that group are realistically going to be that into? Oh, I don't know, probably still a fair few, but it's like I can go on forever. I'm not going to. You could probably tell how wired up I am about it. Yeah, so I've just gotten rid of a laptop with a P5200 in as well. That was an awesome GPU in a laptop. It was the HP ZBook G5? G4, G5? Did the review on it before AU 2018. But yeah, I've just got rid of that one. Because it's pretty much, well, the unit I had was obsolete now, and I wasn't using it anymore, so I got rid of it. Anyway, I'll probably wrap this up soon. It's 20 to 1 in the morning. But it's worked a good test. Right? So let's get through the last couple of bits and pieces in here. God, this chat's just jumping all over the place, right? From Maurice, yes, totally agree. They send Quadros and gaming channels to play Crisis. Is the tip for me? I've got nothing better to do. The pinnacle was, I think it was the last time Linus did a video on Quadros. I remember it vividly. I think he had like 4 or 5 Quadros, like RTX 6000s or 8000s in a server rack. And I think him and about 5 people in his team were sort of stood around it with their hands on their hips, just like being pretty open about it, but they were just stood there, hands on their hips, going, we don't know what to do with these. Like, we've got them, but we've got no idea what we're going to do. I think they ended up actually playing a Crisis or a game or running some spreadsheet test or something like that with it. I don't know. Or some weird, completely unrealistic, non-real world test with them. I don't know, but yeah, it's. I mean, I don't want anything for free or anything. I just want to be on the radar for when like a Threadripper comes out. Just can I have one for a week? Test it with Inventor, test it with VRED, test it with something, and I can send it back. Just so I can put out some meaningful information to people who might be interested in buy. Hell, I could do with that information myself. I'm managing an office of 150 engineers. I could do with knowing how good all this stuff is myself. But I don't know. But yeah, 3D Connection were good. If the channel ever was, I've said this since 3D Connection first got in touch with me, if the channel ever did sort of take off big time, which it probably isn't, it's never going to be sort of that kind of size, sort of hundreds of thousands and millions. But I'll remember the companies that have just point blank ignored me, and I'll remember the likes of 3D Connection, who've been awesome throughout the whole time. And 3D Connection don't, not just supporting me, but you can see they support other channels of similar sizes. They send out samples to, small publications, smaller blog sites, people who are just regular people who have a CAD blog site. They'll send them a CAD mouse to write about. That's awesome. That kind of thing is brilliant, because it's not what marketing people do in the likes of, I don't know, like if MSI, for example, they're a gaming company, obviously, but they do a suite of laptops that have Quadros in, professional line of laptops, kind of punting above their league somewhat, but they try and do it. But their marketing team, their ethos is get the product in front of as many eyes as possible. Don't care what those eyes are, who they're in, just get the product in front of as many people as possible, and that's my job done. That's pretty much how it goes down. So channel sponsor would be great. Channel sponsor would be great, but that's kind of the whole problem. That's kind of the whole problem, mate. It's getting on a radar. But I think it's also like it's the channel's history. If someone was to look through my back catalogue and all they see are screen videos of a CAD application with a voiceover, that's not the kind of channel where someone would think, oh, we could send this guy a CPU or a graphics card and we'll get some use out of that. So I've kind of not done myself many favors by mixing it up on one channel, but YouTube's so difficult now to start from scratch. If I was to, I've talked about it in the past when I started to diversify a few years ago. Came on stream, talked about it, kind of bounced it off whoever was on the live stream at the time, thinking like, what should I do? Should I start a new channel for this thing? If I'm going to do laptops and hardware and benchmarking on how well Inventor does on different CPUs, it was the start of the path that ultimately led me on to doing all the benchmarking and all the hardware stuff that I've ended up doing. Should I do that on a different channel? But it's just too it's not impossible, but it's way beyond my means to juggle a full-time job and then 2 YouTube channels. I couldn't do it. And back then I was also doing the Pluralsight gig, and I had 2 consultant jobs. I was sort of juggling 2 different contracts. So yeah, it was too much. So channel sponsors are probably quite hard to come by for a channel like that when they look back through the history and make a judgment. So yeah, that's kind of why sort of why I'm thinking about these memberships, to try and monetize the channel a bit better. It's the only way the channel is going to keep moving forward. I can't continue to put in 40 hours a week on top of my day job on a channel that's not giving back what I'm putting in. So the only way it's going to work is to create memberships, and then the memberships are going to be Inventor videos, and then a higher tier for Vault, possibly, in VRED stuff. Or maybe just 1 tier, I don't know. I haven't quite worked it out yet. But I need to obviously get the okay from Autodesk to actually use the licenses that I've got for membership content, which I'm hoping they're going to be all right with. What I've said to them is, I get it. I'm not meant to use these licenses for paid stuff. However, what if I make the videos available to everyone after a set period of time? I decide how long that's going to be. Maybe 6 months. I don't know. I do membership videos for members only, and then 6 months later they're available to everyone. I'd rather not do that, but I will if it allows me to do this. Because honestly, cards on the table, all out. If Autodesk come back and say, sorry, it's against the license agreement, you're not going to be able to use our licenses for the membership stuff, I'm having to give real thought to not creating any more Autodesk videos on the channel. What that means moving forward, I don't know. I'm having to think about it, genuinely. Just purely for my own health, my own life. Just what am I doing this for? What am I continuously creating all these videos and putting all this time in for? What am I getting back from it? So it's like I'm at that point now. You know, six years in, you have to think about these things when you're 6 years in. 3 years, you know, when you're 3 years in, you try different things. You know, there's still time. It takes a while. You know, etc. But 6 years, no, you've got to start making some decisions at this point. I literally bought the mouse because of your video. Hey, I tell you what, mate, what is massive help, and I didn't realise it until I started looking at some of the stats, is the Amazon affiliate links. What help they've been. I mean, them alone so I put together like the Workstation Slayer videos, which that's what's whirring away in the corner, benchmarking VRED, the Workstation Slayer. What an absolute sweet machine that is. Put the 2060 in, that's got the chip from the 2080 in, and that is an absolute monster of a PC. So I'm probably going to create another video of that. But the affiliate links, when people buy the PC that I've done a video on but use the Amazon affiliate links, you get some. That is decent revenue, and that kind of genuinely makes it worthwhile and validates the time that I'm putting into these things. So that is good. Unfortunately, with 3D Connection, they don't have their own affiliate links, but I can get that through Amazon. But I think Amazon are a bit funny with 3D Connection. It's quite difficult to get a link to the right device. Sometimes they're like out of stock, and I'll. But it's good, yeah. It's good that you bought one. The solid devices. The CAD mouse that I've got, I'm using one right now, actually. These have been absolutely amazing. I've had a couple which have failed and I've had to send back, but the only downside to the CAD mouse is this metal thing around here. It's not actually metal. It's like a plated plastic. So the amount of use that I put through a mouse, this wears down, and you end up just like with that ugly kind of frayed, worn out plastic effect around here. But been great devices, really good. And you built the workstation slave. Well, I'll tell you what you've done, if you use the affiliate links, if you've done that, you've contributed more to the channel than probably an entire month's worth of YouTube revenue just from buying that PC through Amazon. Genuinely, it's meant, actually that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's if everyone was to do that, that's kind of where it's at with the affiliate links. Space navigators are awesome. They are, I know. It's a shame I've got like, I think I've got 5 3D Connection space mice, and they're all in a drawer because I don't use Inventor day in and day out. So they all sit in a drawer. They look nice on a desk, but yeah, I don't really use them that much. And what I found as well when I was going through the big Inventor video push, because I'm at the point now, I've kind of talked about this before, but I'm at the point now where like my Inventor videos, I've done most of them. Any videos that I do moving forward are going to be updates and refreshes of videos that I've already done, because I've almost done everything really, or everything that I'm capable of anyway. But what I found is that I can't or shouldn't really even use the 3D mouse when I'm doing videos, because if you're a newcomer to Inventor, you've never used it before, and you're watching a video of somebody doing it, and the screen's moving by itself, and what do you think? You're like, well, what are you doing? Or how are you making the screen move like that? And I've seen so many comments from people saying that, like, how are you making the screen move? And I'm having to write in the comments, like, it's a 3D mouse, go look at this. And yeah, it's a bit off-putting for newcomers. So I've had to even stop using the 3D mice on tutorials and tips and tricks, which is a shame. Thanks, Nathan. Appreciate it. Yes, it's been a good ride so far. Up until now. It's just moving forward. Just have to reassess and reevaluate what I do with the videos and how I put it all together. So we'll see how it goes. I'll talk about it more on live stream next week when I've hopefully got some more answers from Autodesk. I'm spamming the send and receive button, waiting for Autodesk to come back to me with an answer on whether I can actually use their licenses or not. So, right, can I have a space mouse? They're all used, mate. I mean, I've done some giveaways, but I think the giveaways kind of ended up being a bit awkward with shipping. It's like trying to get them shipped out, and I was kind of, after the last giveaway, which was actually a pretty good success, I was hoping that 3D Connection would have got back in touch to do some more giveaways, but it just never really materialized. I don't know if they were I don't know if it's on me to get in touch with them to ask them to do giveaways, but I feel kind of, I don't know, I don't like asking people, hey, can I have something for free so I can give it away? I don't know. Maybe I should. Right, okay, I'm going to knock it on the head there. Live stream successful. That's been an hour, so I'm going to have to watch this back, make sure everything's good. Thank you very much to everyone who showed up. For 1 o'clock in the morning, 30 people is not a bad turnout. Right, thank you very much, and hopefully I'll see you next week. I'm not sure how I'm going to announce these. I think I'll just turn them on and get going. I'll probably get more viewers if I schedule them. I think I can do it. I think you can schedule a live stream in the future, so I might do that. But yeah, it's just going to be me playing around with VRED. I might set up some kind of super chat thing where if I'm playing with VRED, I can then sort of deviate off and have a look at Inventor and stuff like that, because that might be something that'll work. I don't know. I'll have a think. But yes, thank you very much for all the nice comments, and I do appreciate it. Sometimes I come in here and it's all doom and gloom and whatnot, but it's at the point. It's been like a big focus of the last couple of weeks, just sitting down and reflecting on where I'm going with this. That's why I've been talking about it a lot, because I'm not exaggerating. It is at the point now where I had been considering, and kind of, if it does come back and say you can't use the licenses for memberships, I have to think about kind of knocking it on the head. Either the whole YouTube thing entirely, or doing something completely different. Sort of, I don't know. I don't even know what that would be. How do you? I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. Because an option would be to buy my own licenses. That would be an option, but like VRED, for example, is £13,000 a year. The amount of memberships that I'd need to just break even on a VRED license is unrealistic. Even an Inventor license, it's what, £3,500 a year, £3,000 a year, something like that. I'd need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of members to do that, and I just can't see that happening. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm just basing that on what happened with Patreon, but Patreon's a little bit of a different beast. But I don't know. If it turns out memberships do take off and I can buy my own licenses to then create the videos, win. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Right. Yes, thanks very much. And I'll see you next week, hopefully. Cheerio, bye.